After you have watched this video, you will have discovered how to craft your Google text ads much more quickly and packing them with much more persuasive power, increasing your CTRs, lowering your CPCs, and increasing your conversion rates. If you've been watching my YouTube channel for any amount of time, you know that I manage Google ad accounts that spend more than 6 figures per month. And with that, I have tested multiple different strategies and multiple different tactics within ads, trying to get the highest possible conversion rate for me within my businesses and also for my clients around the world. And I'm going to reveal all these secrets in today's video. Okay, here we are at my computer. Now what I want you to do just before we get started, if you enjoyed today's video, if you could do me just 2 small favors. Firstly, smash that subscribe button. And secondly, if you have any feedback, good, bad, or ugly, drop a comment in the comment section below. It could be regarding a topic that you want to know further information about. I love the feedback that you guys give me. It helps me improve the content that I'm delivering you guys, and I really do appreciate it. Okay, so when it comes to Google text ads, they're often neglected. People don't spend too much time with them because they feel like, you don't get a lot of space, so why should I spend a great deal of time, investing in the copy that I'm going to use within my Google text ads? Now, that is the completely wrong approach to take with your Google text ads. Now, if you've been following me on YouTube for any amount of time, you may be familiar that I have a couple of different businesses outside of this kind of consulting and YouTube one that I have. Now, with some of the businesses, I have different business partners, but one in particular is really, really competitive. I was really astounded when the cost per clicks came in, and I remember speaking with my business partner saying, just how are people affording to pay such a high cost per acquisition just for traffic, let alone a cost per sale? But I soon realized that if other businesses were spending this amount to acquire traffic, that they have something such as a marketing funnel, or they have better ads and landing pages than I have or had at the time. Therefore, they can afford to actually pay that amount of money. So what I did was I went in and researched, spoke with my customers, understood the features of the product, the benefits, the emotional appeals, etc., and began to craft better Google text ads and better landing pages. Now, I hold the top, or 1.5 to 1.7 ad position for the majority of the best keywords for this particular product. Now, the reason I can do that is because of the conversion rate that I get from the traffic. But that conversion rate starts at the Google text ad because it pre-frames and pre-qualifies and sets up the sale and the interaction and the engagement for when people get onto the landing page where they click upon to. That's why it is so important that you do spend a good chunk of time in crafting well-crafted Google text ads. So what we have here is just some of the kind of specifications of the Google ads, and I don't really want to get into this all too much, mainly because that if you're watching this video, you're probably very much familiar with the format of 30 characters for headline 1, headline 2, headline 3, and description, etc. So we'll jump further on because I don't want this video to be dragged out. I want this to be very powerful for you. And later on in the video, for instance, I'm going to show you before and after ads, showing you how ads in the before world are very, very poor, have low persuasion power, and how if you rewrite them using some of the tactics and strategies and the psychological principles that I'm going to teach you here right now today, how they become much more persuasive and get a better end result for you and your business. So you've probably heard me say this before, that research is king. And I cannot stress this enough, that if you spend the time sharpening the axe, it is far easier to chop down the tree. Now, when it comes to research, I love the quote by David Ogilvy. And if you don't know who David Ogilvy is, I really, really do urge you to have a look at his books and some of the videos that he has on YouTube, or other people that have put up on YouTube, I should say. And his quote here says, "Advertising people who ignore research are as dangerous as generals who ignore decodes of enemy signals." Now, this is back in war times, obviously, back in 30, 40, 50 years ago. So it's a little bit dated in some of the terminology, but it just shows you just how powerful research is. This guy is the creator of Ogilvy and Mather, which is a massive advertising agency. So just trying to emphasize just how important research is. So there's kind of 4 components of research. There's product research, there's competition research, there's prospect research, and there's topical kind of newsworthy research. So with the product research, you want to be talking about or researching the features of your product, the benefits, and your offer. How are you, framing and pitching your offer? What are the incentives? What do they get, etc. When it comes down to competitor research, what are your competitors saying? What are their offers? What are their guarantees? And how are you going to be uniquely different? What's your unique mechanism, unique value proposition, etc.? Prospect research is one of the most forgotten yet the most powerful aspects to research, because it's where you can start to build rapport and craft a message that is laser targeted to the ideal customer or prospect that you actually want to attract. Now, that's really powerful, and I really do hope that that gets across to you, because knowing your prospect is one of, if not the most powerful aspect to your marketing that you can really partake in. So when it comes down to prospect research, you want to understand their beliefs, their desires, and their emotion towards your industry, towards your product, and towards your offer, and really towards you as an operator within your marketplace. And then lastly, there's topical research. Is there any kind of leverage in newsworthy or topical events that are happening worldwide or within your industry that you can leverage upon within your marketing? Now, to touch on a subset of the prospect research just for a quick moment, emotion. People buy on emotion and then they later justify it with logic. And a quote from Joseph Sugarman, who is a fantastic business person, marketer. He's the creator of Blue Blocker sunglasses, and we've all seen them with the gentleman in the movie The Hangover, the leader of the Wolf Pack, who wears those kind of funky kind of orange glasses. Joe Sugarman is the creator behind those, and the brilliant marketing mind that has sold so many millions of pairs of those sunglasses. And Joe Sugarman says, "You sell on emotion, but you justify a purchase with logic." And that's why it's so important that you understand the emotion behind your product that your prospects have for it. So just quickly, just to run through them. First, we have lust, which is kind of like their sex motivation, approval to the opposite sex. You got the scrawny guy on the beach that can't attract girls, and then you got the big muscly guy that has, women swarming over him left and right kind of thing. People have this desire to be sexually appealing to the opposite sex, or to whoever they're trying to attract. So can you leverage this within your product or your services? The next is escape. People are always trying to escape the reality of their own world. So people watch Martha Stewart because of food porn. They're trying to get out of their world and into a new world where food is fantastic, etc. YouTube's become so popular because people are trying to live vicariously through other people's experiences, for instance. So escape is, hugely powerful. For instance, you see a lot of entrepreneurial kind of YouTube channels, and I hate this kind of style of marketing or theme of marketing. Just irritates me to death, really. And it's that, walk into work and tell your boss to shove it because this is a program or whatever, or a guru rubbish that will help you quit your day job and move into this nomadic kind of entrepreneurial lifestyle where you can travel the world. It's often a load of absolute rubbish, and it really pisses me off, to be honest. But that's escape. And I'm trying to give you a couple of examples how you can use escape to really add persuasive power to your marketing. Next, we have esteem, inadequacy, ego. This is a massive one. So many purchases are made to make people feel better, give them confidence, give them a higher perceived status within their peer group or within general society, things of that nature. People want to be superior to their peer group or to others. They don't want us to be seen as inferior or weak. Next, we have fear, and fear is such an obvious kind of motivator. There's the fear of loss. There's actual danger. There's the fear of being left behind or not knowing something. The fear of making a bad decision, etc. Moving on to guilt. People often feel guilty about some aspects of their life, and in a good way, you can leverage this in terms of showing people a better solution or a product or a service that helps take away that guilt and solve that problem for them. So if you have a product that helps people avoid disappointing other people, such as family members, friends, etc., or co-workers or things of that nature, that could be a trigger to pull upon. The guilt of fear or weakness, such as procrastination, for example. People who procrastinate are often guilty after the fact, and they want to do something about it. Another instance is not living up to a code, be it religious, be it a moral or ethical or industry-based kind of code, not living up to a standard. Can you kind of pull upon those strings in terms of guilt, and can you position your product or service that it helps fix that guilt? Affinity is a little bit like ego in a way, that people want to be part of a group because of the perceived status. They want to be associated with someone. A lot of people like to, who are friends with well-known or celebrity people, like to name drop for an egotistical kind of purpose, or they just want to be kind of seen in a good light, that they're associated with groups or with people that have a higher status and helps elevate their own status. Also, there's safety in numbers. So affinity is to be a part of a group. So if you have a large group of people that you serve, hundreds of thousands of millions, etc., there's safety in numbers, there's credibility and proof in numbers. Another kind of little lever that you can pull upon is that, are you the dumb person who chooses this choice, or are you the smart person that chooses this choice? Pick the group that you want to be a part of. This can really help call out your audience, identify, build rapport, etc., and help the persuasive power of some of your messaging. And last but certainly not least, greed, gluttony. People just want more of everything. They want more money, they want more freedom, they want more status, they want more things, they want more possessions, etc. You get the idea. Now, moving on to the first part of your Google text ads, and that are the headlines. Now, you have up to 3 headlines to choose from, and you don't have to use all 3 headlines every single time. Now, for instance, what is the purpose of a headline? Now, the purpose of a headline, Joe Sugarman really puts it particularly well. The sole purpose of a headline is to get your prospect to read the first sentence of your copy. Now, the first sentence of your copy in our Google text ad kind of world is the description. Really, your ads are there to capture attention and to move people onto the second headline, the third headline, onto description line 1, onto the description line 2. So that's really the goal of the headlines. Now, some other things that you want to kind of incorporate is try and be keyword specific if you can, and if it fits. Some keyword phrases are too long or things of that nature, but it does help with quality score, which has a bearing on the cost per click. Doesn't actually help the conversion rate. So sometimes it might not be it might be best practice or to not have the specific keyword in your headlines, but rather have something that enters and carries on with the dialogue that's happening within the prospect's mind. So you're meeting them and answering their question or capturing their attention and moving them through your Google text ad, moving them onto headline 2, 3, description 1 and 2, etc. Ultimately trying to get them to click onto your landing page. With your headlines, you always want to be bold, specific and unique. You want to kind of really separate yourself from your competitors. So you really do want to do some research here, and what are your competitors saying within their headlines, and how can you stick out? Can you contradict them? And I do talk about this in a later aspect of this video, how you can contradict your audience or competitors and really stick out and take a really good chunk or the majority chunk of your Google Ads market share. Now, getting into the body copy or the description text. This is where you're really starting to talk about benefits, emotion, the features, etc. of your product or service. And I decided to run with a quote here from Eugene Schwartz, who, if memory serves me correct, did hundreds of millions of dollars with Agora Publishing, and it was just an absolute amazing copywriter. And again, just like I said with Ogilvy earlier, if you can get your hands on any material that Gene Schwartz had anything to do with, let alone the ads that he wrote or the books that he authored, or even some of the clips that he has on YouTube, I really do urge you to have a look at them. the man unfortunately has passed away now, but he is an absolute advertising genius. And his quote goes as follows: "No sentence can be effective if it contains facts alone. It must also contain emotion, image, logic, and promise." Now that's why it is so important that you do pay close attention and allocate a good chunk of time to your research. And research is ongoing. Markets change, prospects change, etc. But when it comes to descriptions, what can you do to add more persuasive power? Proof, credibility, believability. I'm going to show you ads later down in the video that really do give you a great example on how you can use these elements within your ads. Benefits, guarantees, crafting an irresistible offer. Can you talk about these things within your description text? You also want to try and pack in emotion. We just spoke about emotion, and can you test different theme emotions within ads? It's kind of difficult because of the shortness of space to put 3 or 4 emotions in the one ad, but there's always the 80-20 rule. There's always just 1 or 2 dominant emotions that you really do want to try and pull that lever as hard as you can and get your point across and create that desired emotional end result within your ads. Then you're trying to invoke that emotion in your prospect and show that that's what you can deliver. That's what your product and service can deliver. You also want to be adding call to actions. People want to be led. They won't admit it, but the reason why that people want to be led is it's such a huge effort to think what to do every waking moment, but when you have a checklist of what to do and a process that kind of irons out what to do within that checklist, it's so much easier. Or if someone tells you what to do and how to do it, it's so much easier. And this is the reason why people want to be led. And so lead people, give them a call to action, make it irresistible, make it part of your offer if that works for your particular business. And lastly, but certainly not least, is you can talk about your unique mechanism, unique selling proposition, unique value proposition. Too many words and phrases to articulate the same thing here. I like to refer to it as a unique mechanism. It just kind of works better within my mind for no good reason, really. But the unique mechanism is how does your product or service, and how do you do it, or how does your product do it? How does it achieve a better result for your prospect? Now, really, really, really important that you narrow down and are able to articulate this in a clear way to your prospect that they can understand. Now clarity trumps persuasion. So there are persuasive tactics and little hacks and things like that. But if you can just get your point across very clearly, you do far better. It's like the gentleman who tried to sell the elevator to the public. We take for granted what the elevator does now, but imagine back when the elevator was first invented, being in a metal box, being 100 meters in the air or 50 meters in the air or 20 meters in the air. If that thing falls, you're thinking you're going to die. But with multiple redundancies and lock-in brakes that is kind of speed induced, he sold that through demonstration by standing in the elevator, cutting the cord and showing everyone that there are multiple brakes that are redundancies and that will save your life if the cables were to ever break. And thankfully for that demonstration, we don't have to walk upstairs. So in that way, clarity is there's nothing so powerful like demonstration, and it is one of the most powerful ways to really clearly illustrate the benefits, the features, the emotion, etc. of your product or service. Now, as I mentioned, I've tested and I manage multiple ad accounts that spend 6 figures per month. I obviously manage a whole heap of accounts as well that spend far smaller as well. But within the last 10 years and spending millions of dollars, I've narrowed down to just a couple, a bit more than a couple of themes that I like to run with or test initially. I do have 24 themes that I like to pull from, but I'm not going to go through all 24 because that would get this video to exceptionally long. But these are some of the themes I like to target and try to include in my Google ads. So the first is credibility and proof. And it goes without saying that there's safety in numbers, as I mentioned earlier in the video. So if you can illustrate that you have a tremendous success record, or you work with tons of people that are just like the ideal prospect or customer that you're trying to target, you'll do far better in the general principle and in the general sense. I spoke about the unique mechanism. I'm not going to kind of focus on that too much, but you get the idea. Talk about how you achieve better results. Now, I really do like the warning, kind of contrarian, kind of theme-based Google text ads, because it can really help you separate from your competitors in a competitive industry. But it has to be congruent with the landing page that you send them to. If the kind of like the dialogue doesn't mesh really nicely together, you're going to have a big problem. There's a big disconnect, and people will land on a landing page that doesn't meet the pre-framed idea of where they want to be once they get on your landing page. So this kind of like warning could be, warning, before you hire a next accountant, you should know these 3 things. Warning, this is how pest controllers are ripping you off, kind of thing. So you can get the idea, or the sneaky tricks day traders or mortgage brokers are using every day to rip you off. You get to kind of get the idea. I'm offering some pretty poor examples here, but I still feel like that the learning is coming across, hopefully. Obviously, next there is direct offer. Just a bold, kind of clear, this is what you get when you work with me or you buy the product, etc. Pretty simple. Next, identification is you kind of calling out the prospect, saying that, if I was, let's just run with a web design firm, for instance, we only do web design for pest controllers. So we know what works for them, because that's all we do. Now, there's an element of truth there, but there's also an element of that's not so true as well. So you get the idea of how to build identification with a particular audience. Topical, newsworthy stuff, so other things that are happening within your industry or within the world, or with any kind of part of our daily lives that you can leverage upon to make your marketing more interesting, or to build rapport with your prospects, etc. Can you include that within your Google ads? Kind of like the really obvious things are, Christmas sale, Mother's Day sale, things like that. So if you can use those things, great. Another one is kind of conspiracy, so it is kind of like the contrarian kind of warning kind of thing, showing people that there are hidden aspects to the industry that you're about to do business within that you should know about, and people are ripping you off, kind of thing. No, we're not talking conspiracy. We are subtly talking conspiracies, but they have to be true, not conspiracies that are unfounded. Like people on YouTube like to create content about. But this one can work really well, but it can be a little bit hard to work out how to correctly use it within your marketing. And lastly, but certainly not least, as I've said before, emotion and benefit orientated stuff. People buy on emotion, they justify with logic. So, for instance, if you were a business that was offering celebrities to be speakers for corporate events, you might just, instead of saying that, we have a wide range of speakers for every event, it could be something like, pick our speaker to make your event one to remember, because that's ultimately what people are crafting events for. Is they want to craft something memorable. So that's how you can build in some emotion into your ads and how you can use that. So just some quick hacks that can work well. Scarcity, urgency goes without being said. As you can see with the image just here, is you actually use like a countdown style of urgency or within your Google ads that'll count down in actual time. So if you've got like a 7-day sale, it'll go 6 days, 5 days. You can set that up within your Google ads. And a lot of people don't understand that. And urgency works so well. We hate to miss out, FOMO, fear of missing out. And it's just something that you can use, a little hack that might be able to separate yourselves from your competitors. I also like to set up my accounts and my clients' accounts for the ads to appear local. So if you have multiple locations, or you serve multiple locations, or your product can be purchased in multiple locations, set up different ad groups or campaigns that are local to the geographical region. Birds of a feather flock together. So if you're selling tires in Manhattan, for instance, you might say tires Manhattan instead of just tires New York. That level of specificity is this is local to me. It's someone local. If something kind of screws up, I know that they're local and that I can probably get it fixed. So working on that kind of level of granularity can bring tremendous results for you and your Google ads. Your Google text ads need to be congruent with the landing page. Now, I see this all the time, and you just want to pull your hair out, and you just want to call the business owner up and say, you are doing this wrong, or the agency you are hiring is doing this wrong. I'm just going to use pest controllers because I've been talking about pest controllers I have no idea what reason I have been talking about pest controllers for in this video, but if you're selling termite prevention or termite treatments as a pest controller, so like, it might be termite treatment Houston, do not send them to the home page, send them to the termite page. So get people past all the clicks that they need to navigate to the particular page and just send them to the particular page. It'll increase your quality score because now the ad is relevant to the landing page, but also increases your conversion rate, which is fantastic. You're paying less for a new customer, then that is the whole goal of marketing optimization. The next one goes without being said: test. Just keep testing. You never have a whole soul world champion that doesn't need to be beaten. Every ad can be beaten, and I'm talking about different tactics, different strategies, different themes that you can use to test different ads, different styles of ads. And sometimes, every time Google recommends testing 3 different ads. I don't recommend that because it can be hard to substantiate, mathematically that one ad is better than the other if you don't get a great deal of traffic. I recommend just testing 2 ads if you're not getting a great deal of traffic. If you are getting tons of traffic through a particular ad set, sure, test 3, test 4 even. But for most people, I recommend just testing the 2 ads and not going with Google's testing 3 ads. Try testing positive and negative themes. So fear, negative, something bad will happen if you don't do this, and obviously the positive is this is the positive end result if you do business with us or buy our product or buy our service. Test the different themes. Sometimes fear and the negative side does pull people far better. Not often, but sometimes it does. Clarity trumps persuasion. I cannot stress that enough. I've already touched upon this, so we'll move on to focus on your customers' needs. Now, marketing is not an egotistical endeavor. It is not something that you put together that you're trying to make something look better than your competitors or sound better than your competitors. Your market is determines who is the winner in the business war. They determine the numbers. So focus on the needs of your customers. Really, really important when I see businesses talking about I, we. No, talk about you. You as in the prospect, your prospect. Use the word you. This is what you get. This is how we help you, etc. Focus on their needs and their benefits, the emotion, etc. You get the idea, but I really do see this as a big problem on the majority of websites that I see and interact with, and a great deal of the Google text ads that I do see day in, day out. So here we have a couple of Google ad examples, and these are kind of some good ones just from random industries really, so blinds and ClickFunnels. And so first off, we've got a guaranteed best prices. Moving on to credibility. 98% of customers agree. Not quite sure what they're agreeing to, but are they agreeing to the best prices? It's a little bit of a funny one, but I just picked it out because it was kind of hard to find proof and credibility based ads that weren't my own. Yeah, I know that sounds weird, but it really was a little bit more difficult than I thought. And then we just move on to Save Now. Next day blinds, they're more talking about the features, etc. A little bit of benefits, top quality, but it's not really grounded all that well. their competitors, funny enough, far better ad. So over 100,000 customer reviews, Affinity. Moving on to 5 million windows covered. Again, Affinity, proof credibility. Again, they're restating reviews, wasted ad space in my opinion. We've got a feature and a benefit of 70% off the high street prices. Fast free samples, a huge benefit. A 3-year guarantee, very obviously huge benefit there. That it's kind of like a warranty, I would assume. Over 5 million sold. I've kind of said that twice, a little bit redundant. The blind people are a little bit illiterate, it seems, within the Google ads. But nonetheless, again, over 18 years experience, so a tried, tested business that you can trust. And again, we're just moving into types there. Then we've got ClickFunnels, which I'm actually a fan of. And I'm not going to try and sell them to you. I have no affiliate link or anything like that. I don't do that in my YouTube videos. But they put like a kind of nice, simple ad together here that's a little bit like a demonstration, benefit orientated, a little bit of emotion in a way. So ClickFunnels kind of allows you to quickly create high converting landing pages. So benefit there quickly is emotion that it's so frustrating creating landing pages. It used to be frustrating, but ClickFunnels does make it a little bit easier. Email automation, again, that is frustrating, but they're talking about making it easier for you. And they give you the highest converting template, irresistible offer. The highest converting templates, that's what this video is about, is improving conversion. So some examples there. So just the before and after, went pest control because just to keep the theme going within the ad. So this is an actual ad that I pulled from my Ahrefs account, and Houston Pest Control. I went with Houston because I mentioned them earlier. So Houston Pest Control, got the domain, just a single line, not using headline 2, headline 3, description line 2, 100% guaranteed, pests disappear fast, call your local pest experts. I actually went to the website and had a look about some of the aspects that they have about their business and the services that they provide to try and quickly in 60 seconds write a better ad. And this is not a great example, but a slightly better one. So fast pest control Houston, safe for your family and pets. Safety is obviously a huge concern within pest control because there's chemicals being sprayed around your home. Are they harmful to you or your pets, etc.? Results, one of the things that are pain in the backside with pest control is that the cockroaches come back. So if they come back, what happens? This company now, or they actually do, 100% guarantee the results. Keep your family safe and clean. Don't let your friends see your pest problem. So moving into that kind of ego, fear, things like that you don't want to be known as the dirty person that has cockroaches at a family dinner or a friend's dinner or a dinner party, or one of the the kids come over to play at your place and the kids are picking up cockroaches or whatever kind of pest that in this hypothetical story is around. Same day free quotes. People want to know what the pest control treatment is going to cost. Same day free quotes. It's a really nice benefit, I feel. 100% pest dead guarantee, or we retreat for free. They do actually do this. I made up the cheesy pest dead guarantee just for fun, really. But if you name a guarantee, it has more persuasive power. There you go. So that's a little hack there. But or we retreat for free. Huge benefit there. These guys will come back and retreat for free if the roaches come back. And obviously a little bit of proof and credibility. I was running out of space, but this is also true. Their triple B rating is A+, so fantastic. I feel like this is a better ad. You may agree or may not agree. If you don't agree, let me know. I'd love to hear why you agree or don't agree, or what you would do to write a better ad. So there you have it. You have all the tools you need to craft better Google text ads. But before you go, don't forget to click that subscribe button and give me a thumbs up and drop a comment in the comment section below. I really do appreciate all the feedback that I get, both good and bad. If you have any topics that you'd like me to cover, that would be really helpful too, because again, I do this for your benefit and not so much my own. And again, just before, if you watch my YouTube videos in the past, you know this already. But if you go over to my website, brandonhamill.com, you can whip down here to the bottom, click, how may I contact Bren, fill out this form, and I will do a free assessment, a free video assessment, a screen capture video, very similar to the one right here, going through your Google ads, Facebook ads, search engine optimization, email automation sequences, whatever you wish, a video going through the good, the bad, the ugly, showing you how to optimize and improve your own marketing. There's no obligation, there's no selling BS whatsoever. And I'll put that together. You can have it for free. If you want a phone call to talk about all the information that I put in the video, we can do that. But again, there's no obligation. If you want or don't want that, that's perfectly up to you. So if you want to engage with me and get this really valuable marketing audit, fill in this form, and I usually deliver them within about 3 to 4 days. Hugely powerful and hugely beneficial for you. So fingers crossed. I get to speak with you and complete that video for you. With all this being said, I hope you've enjoyed today's video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Good day for now.